We'll start with Gege Akutami's favorite character, Satoru Gojo. Gojo's curse technique is called Limitless, which is an inherited technique passed down in the Gojo clan. This technique brings the concept of infinity into reality, allowing Gojo to manipulate and distort space at will. While any member of the Gojo family can hereditarily gain this technique, only those who also possess the Six Eyes as well can truly master the power of the Limitless. Satoru Gojo is the first sorcerer to be born with both the Limitless and the Six Eyes in the last 400 years. Limitless gives Gojo 6 of the most broken techniques in Jujutsu Kaisen. The first one is Infinity, which is the neutral state of Limitless. Infinity is essentially the power to stop, or in other words, it's the defensive use of Limitless. It is the convergence of an unending series. Anything that tries to get closer to Gojo slows down and will never reach him. This is because Infinity divides the finite space between Gojo and his opponent infinitely. In mathematics, no matter how many times you divide a number, it will never be reduced to 0. The Limitless brings this concept into reality, as anything that attempts to penetrate this infinitely divided space will slow down to the point of appearing to stop completely. However, this doesn't mean Gojo is untouchable, as there are 3 ways to nullify Infinity. The first one is by casting a domain expansion against him. The second way is to use domain amplification, which is an anti-domain technique. And the last way is by using a curse tool that can cancel out curse techniques, like the inverted spear of heaven and the black rope. The last thing I want to mention is that Infinity can also be used offensively. As we saw in Shibuya, Gojo strengthened the output of Infinity to crush Hanami, and in his fight against Sukuna, he used Infinity to launch a building at the King of Curses. The next technique is Blue, or the power to attract. It amplifies Limitless to bring the concept of negative distance to reality. By creating a negative distance, Gojo forces the surrounding space to correct itself and fill in the negative space. This creates a strong force of attraction, similar to a powerful magnet. Blue also has a maximum output version, which is a highly amplified version of Blue unleashed when it's been charged to its full power, to achieve maximum cursed energy output. This produces a gigantic field of attraction capable of clearing out an entire area like a black hole. Gojo can also achieve high-speed movements across short distances using Blue by compressing the space between him and his opponent. This made Gojo the fastest sorcerer in his era. And finally, Gojo can use Blue to make his attacks even more powerful, like he did against Sukuna before landing a punch on him. Next, we have Red, which is the exact opposite of Blue, as it is the power to repel. Red is extremely difficult to pull off, as it requires double the cursed energy of Blue, and it also requires the user to know how to use reverse cursed technique. When Red is released, the explosive output is massive, as it creates a gigantic shockwave that blows everything away. Another powerful technique of Limitless is Hollow Purple. It is the fusion of both red and blue to produce an imaginary mass, capable of destroying nearly anything it collides with. If left unrestricted, it can even damage Gojo himself. It is such a rare ability that even within the Gojo clan, there are only few people who know this move even exists. Another unique thing about Limitless is that it gives Gojo the ability of long-distance teleportation. This is achieved by compressing the space between Gojo's location and his destination. He can also teleport other people with himself, like he did with Yuji, and even without himself, like he did for Toge and Panda. The last and most powerful technique in Limitless's arsenal is Gojo's domain expansion, Infinite Void. This domain brings Gojo and his target inside Limitless itself. It forces an endless stream of information into his target's brain, overwhelming them to the point where they're completely immobilized. This leaves the opponent open to an easy attack from Gojo as they stand. Only Gojo and anyone he touches are immune to the effects of Infinite Void. Gojo can also cast his domain for 0.2 seconds like he did in Shibuya. And with all of that being said about Limitless, let's move on to another broken ability of Gojo, the Six Eyes. Unlike Limitless, the Six Eyes is not a technique, but rather a rare gift also inherited within the Gojo family. It gives Gojo an extrasensory perception, allowing him to perceive anything with cursed energy in extreme detail. Any sorcerer can perceive cursed energy, but a Six Eyes bearer can read the flow of cursed energy even when their eyes are covered, allowing them to even detect people or objects with 0 cursed energy. Gojo is the only person that has ever sensed Toji from behind, and it's all thanks to his Six Eyes. The eyes also give Gojo extremely precise manipulation of cursed energy, allowing him to use his cursed techniques with next to 0 cursed energy expenditure. This allows Gojo to fight and use his Limitless technique, as he will never run out of cursed energy. However, one major drawback of the Six Eyes is that it is a passive trait that even Gojo himself cannot deactivate. And while it doesn't need cursed energy to function, leaving Six Eyes uncovered for long periods of time can fatigue the bearer. That's why Gojo is almost always seen covering his eyes with a blindfold. And lastly, it's worth mentioning that Gojo is capable of using Black Flash and reverse curse technique as well. He is also capable of using anti-domain techniques like Simple Domain and Falling Blossom Emotion.